Hey guys, I'm Andi.
And I'm Ayla.
And welcome to
Sinister Dynasty.
I always speed real fast into the welcome to Sinister Dynasty. You just have to catch up with me.
Panic, the panic.
Yeah, the panic. Well, hey guys, so it's been a bit of a break for us, not for you. Yeah, for us. We've had a few weeks off, but we're I'm just about to do another case, which is a little short, so I'm going to get Ayla to interrupt me when she can. No pressure, Ayla. So I'll get into it as slow as possible, but I just wanted to give you a bit of background first before I go into the case. The case is the Schlaepfer murders. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Schlaepfer.
Schlaepfer. Well,
That's an interesting name.
It's Schalpfer, and I'm pretty sure when the P and the F together are like
Fur.
Yeah, like Michelle Pfeiffer. Oh, the actress. A shout out. Listen to our podcast. So anyway, back into it again. A little bit of background. The Schlaepfer family settled in Paerata in 1886, and that's about 40 minutes south of Auckland. So I think near Pukekohe Way.
I have no clue
where
that is.
I've driven up there once.
Oh.
So Brian was the head of the family at the time. He was born in 1928 and was a wealthy farmer. And the family owned over 100 acres of land. That was more than Minnie Dean. Oh no, he had 300 acres at some point, didn't he? But it got cut down to 22. I know that because I listened to it the other day to boost our listens.
If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen.
Please do. It's a good case. We try and make everything in there light-hearted. It's quite hard. Oh, good. So Brian lives with his wife, sons, daughter-in-law, and his grandchildren on the Ostrich Farm Road section.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, so in total, actually I worked this out, in total there were 11 people living on the 3 houses on the farm. Yeah, because my brain...
Whoa.
Yeah, so... I worked it out. It's like 3 people to a house.
Man.
No, 4 people. Oh, no, my brain's not working.
I struggle with 3 people in this house, including me.
My cat counts as a person, so I still count her as 2. She's very vocal. I'm sure we'll introduce her to you guys someday. So on the Ostrich Farm Road section, in the 3 properties, there was Brian, who was 64, and his wife Jocelyn, who was 55. They had 5 children, so there was Peter, 39, Gail, she was 37, Darwin was 34, Karl was 33, and Darrell was the youngest, and he was 31 years old. And so 3 of the children lived on the farm, so Peter, Karl, and Darrell. Gail and Darwin didn't live on the farm. So Darrell also had a partner, so the partner and Darrell and their 2 children lived on the farm. So that made up 4 of the 11.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a big family. But again, 3 houses, I guess, that's still family.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. So Peter's wife, Hazel, and their 3 children also lived on the farm. So that made up the rest of the numbers. So the 3 children, the oldest was Kerry, who was 14, Aaron was 11, and Linda was 9. So again, delving in a little bit more of the background. So they had a big family, right? And it was like a family farm. And it was thought that Hazel, who was Peter's wife, and Peter was the oldest kid, she'd been plotting to replace Brian as head of the family farm. So she thought that he was kind of getting too old and just couldn't do it anymore. And so she was like, nah, I want to do it. Give it to me.
Oh.
And she had her husband, so Peter, and Karl and Darrell on her side, apparently.
Oh, yeah, well,
yeah.
64's an old age to be running a farm.
Almost
It's very physical.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with, like, the properties as well on it, probably maintaining them too. Yeah. So Brian found out about this, and he got increasingly paranoid about the situation. As you would, I guess. Probably not paranoid as such, but
I mean, if they were after him for his money, then
Yeah.
I'd
So-
be paranoid.
Yeah, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. And that is where the
Oh.
title comes in, the Schlaepfer murders.
Oh, took it too literally.
Yeah, he did. He did,
Oh,
yes.
goodness.
So early on the 20th of May 1992, so this again is kind of a little bit of an older case, Brian was arguing with his wife. Oh, actually, sorry. So I should have said this from the very beginning. This case is quite similar to that Aramoana case in that it's really sad.
Oh,
So
God.
it's, you can't even really make light of much again in here. I tried to keep it as short as possible, which is why it is so short. So yeah, again, you don't have to listen to it. There are a few children who die in this one, so you can skip it if you want to. So I'll just get back into it. So yeah, on the 20th of May 1992, Brian was arguing with his wife Jocelyn in their bedroom. So it was unsure why they were arguing because, well, no one knows why. But there was again that theory that Brian was real angry and just paranoid about Hazel trying to steal it, and he thought Jocelyn was on Hazel's side. So there's that theory. So during the argument, Brian picked up a knife and then stabbed Jocelyn in the heart. So I'm right into it. Like
Whoa.
it starts straight away pretty much. Again, keeping it short and sweet. Not so sweet, short and spicy.
Short and spicy.
short and sour.
I'm pretty sure Chris told me off last week for changing words into things they didn't mean. I use spicy all the time. It's like, man, that's hot, man, that's spicy.
Oh, spicy though. It could be spicy gossip.
Yeah.
That is spicy.
And my cat's spicy. She was spicy when I got home. She was
She's sassy.
screaming at me.
Oh.
She's like, pet me, pet me, pet me.
No,
Runs
you silly
round.
bitch.
I'm like, you're fine. She's like, I'm not.
Oh, no, well, that's spicy. That's spicy. So, yeah, he stabbed Jocelyn in the heart. And this again, it's giving me shivers. So, the sound she made when she fell to the floor, so caused Karl. So, again, Karl was one of their children, and he was living in the same house as them. So, that caused Karl, the middle son, to investigate. So, he heard the noise. He's like, oh, what's that? Come up the stairs.
What was the noise she made?
And just as she fell to the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a big thud. Yeah. So Brian heard him coming, and before Karl got to the door, he picked up the shotgun he kept in his room, and then when Karl got to the door, he shot him in the neck.
Oh.
Yeah, and then he made the same sound as Jocelyn hitting the floor.
He hit the floor. Oh, poor bugger.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm pretty much straight into it. That's 2 deaths in however many minutes I've been talking. Yeah. So, after killing his wife and son, I write that so how do you pronounce it? Non-canonly. After killing his wife and son. Brian headed towards the tool shed where he found Darrell, who was his youngest son. And he was living on the property with his wife and kids. But the wife and kids weren't actually there that day, which is really good for them.
Thank goodness.
Because Brian shot Darrell, so their dad and husband, in the jaw and throat.
Oh.
He didn't die straight away, though, it seems. He was just dying on the floor.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so he's up the stairs, he's killed his wife and his son, and he's come downstairs and he's caused the death of his younger son, just on the floor.
Oh, goodness, that's not ideal.
Yeah, I think it says here Brian might have tried to look for the partner and the 2 children, but I don't know how true that is. He might have known they were off the farm or something. So Peter's wife Hazel was in one of the other farmhouses on the property with her children Linda and Aaron. So that night, Kerry had stayed at a friend's house the night before. So she was the oldest, she was 14. So she stayed at a friend's house the night before, and so she hadn't come home yet. So because it was quite early, like it says here, on the 20th of May. So yeah, she was probably still sleeping or something.
The date gives you a description of the time,
No, it says early.
I was like, whoa.
Yes. I forgot where I was. So Hazel heard the shots, and so she told Linda and Aaron to stay home, and then she followed the sounds out. So you're living on a farm, she probably just thought they were shooting an animal or something, like maybe...
Why would you go out, though, to inspect that if you're on a farm and they regularly, not regularly, but they shoot animals, you'd be like, oh, something's happened. I wouldn't go outside.
That's a fair point, though.
If I heard shooting outside, I would not go outside.
Yeah, but you don't live on a farm.
No.
And also, it was early. it was
early.
So maybe they don't shoot early. Maybe they shoot late.
So they're going to... Her thought process, I heard gunshots, I'm going to investigate, even though I live on a farm.
Early. In the early morning. So, yeah, she went to investigate. So she found Darrell. So Darrell still wasn't dead at this point, supposedly. She found Darrell dying on the floor, and she saw Brian holding the gun behind him.
Oh, did she get away? Did she gap?
Well, so Hazel ran back to her house,
Good.
but in doing so, she was shot in the arm and the chest. But she did make it home.
Did she die? Did she die?
I'll carry on.
God.
So she called 111 on the kitchen phone, and she got through to Constable Stuck, who was in the Auckland Central Police Station, and this was about 7:30 in the morning. So that's
early.
where I got the early from.
Really?
7:30 in the morning. I hardly wake up that time to get to work. So Brian had followed her home.
Yes.
So yeah, he followed her into the house, but he walked past her, so he must have thought that she was dying, because she'd shot her on the chest and everything. So
she got away. Good.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
Oh,
So
no.
So he walked past her and instead headed towards the children's bedrooms. So
Oh, good.
yeah, so he went to Aaron's room first and found him on his bed. Again, 7:30 in the morning, it would be in bed, I guess. So Aaron saw him with the gun, and he started begging for his life. So he's an 11-year-old, and he's begging his granddad not to kill him.
Man, I wonder if Brian had a psychotic break, or do we go into theories?
Kind of, not really. I do
wonder
touch
if
on
he-
that though. Yeah. It's horrible. It just
Oh, that poor child.
yeah. So Brian still shot him, even though he was begging for his life. He didn't kill him as well, though, I don't think. At the time. But then he headed for Linda's bedroom. So Linda had heard all of what was going on, she'd heard Aaron begging and the shot. So she ran to her closet to hide before he got to her bedroom.
Oh, quick thinking. Oh, good.
Yeah. So she was 9 as well. So when Brian got to her bedroom, he couldn't find her, so she must have been in the closet. No, like I said. So he went back downstairs to find Hazel, and she was still on the phone to the constable Stuck. So going from Stuck's perspective, so he heard Hazel drop the phone, and then there was raised voices, and then he heard 2 shots.
Oh.
Yeah, so police came in later on, and they'd found that Brian had shot Hazel in her face and her abdomen, which killed her. He then left the farmhouse to try find Linda, and he started calling her name. Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. And again, it's a family member as well. A literal family member. You think you're safe.
Yeah.
Well, you should be. You should be safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, like you said, psychotic break. I do touch on that a little bit, but there's still, unfortunately, a bit to go. So Linda waited until she couldn't hear Brian's voice anymore. So smart cookie. And then she walked down to the kitchen. So I did see here on one source, so I went through quite a few of them. I don't read books though, so I had to rely on the internet. But apparently one source said she looked into Aaron's bedroom and saw him gasping for breath. Yeah. At such a young age as well.
Traumatizing for them both.
And then she had to go next to her mum's body, so Hazel's body, to pick up the phone because she dropped it. And she said to the constable, in the quotes here, my granddad has shot my brother and I think he's going to shoot me. So that was around about 7:47 in the morning. Yeah. When I was writing this up, I was getting...
How old was Linda?
9. Yeah, 9 years old. So the staff also said that Linda remained calm on the phone, but when she heard noises outside, she started to worry, as you would in that situation. So Stuck told her to go and hide. So she went upstairs and barricaded herself in the room using tables and chairs. So I'm guessing it was a dining room upstairs or something. And she then picked up the phone in that room to continue speaking to Constable Stuck. Very smart.
Yeah, she's onto it, isn't she?
Yeah, very, very smart. So it's assumed that, because again, they don't really know what happened, but it's assumed that Brian gave up looking for Linda and then went back to the tool shed where he'd killed Darrell. So Darrell died at this point, and he waited for his oldest son, Peter, to get back. And then when Peter arrived, he then shot and stabbed him to death, because I think he still had that knife from Jocelyn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then he went into the bush afterwards and fired a shot into his own head, so he committed suicide.
Did he kill all of his children?
No, actually. So I remembered it as I was reading. So Aaron was the only child who died, and he was 11 years old. Yeah. But just the traumatizing thing about it was Linda just supposedly, again, she probably doesn't want to remember, I'd block it out too, just seeing him gasping for breath.
That would have been terrifying.
Yeah, so that was real. Yeah, I got quite upset over this one.
I can see why.
Yeah. So the armed defenders squad arrived at the property around 8 a.m, so that would have been from Hazel's phone call. They went to Brian's house first, where they found Jocelyn and Karl's bodies. But they couldn't see Brian, so they went down the drive to the tool shed, and that's where they found Peter and Darrell dead. So Hazel, when she called them, would only have known that Darrell was dead at that point. She wouldn't, and possibly her son Aaron as well, because so she didn't know about the other 3 deaths. Like, she had no idea. So I don't really think the police knew really what they were walking into as well. Sorry, the armed defenders squad. So there was a trail of blood, so I'm guessing that's Hazel's, which they followed back to, so it was Hazel's, which they followed back to Hazel's and Peter's property, and that's where they found Aaron in the kitchen and Aaron on his bed. They heard Linda upstairs talking to Constable Stuck, but of course Linda didn't want to open the door. She had no idea who it was, and they would have been keeping quiet as well. But the constable confirmed it was the squad, and then she opened the door.
Good.
Yeah. So nearly 7 hours after the police were first notified, they found Brian's body in the bush behind the last farmhouse. And also 2 other weapons, so a shotgun and a .22 rifle. That's how you say it, eh? .22 rifle.
Yeah.
They were found along with the shotgun that was on Brian's body. Yeah? Yeah.
Not a fan of Brian.
No. Oh, actually, yeah, so... Oh, no, I can't. No, I'll say it anyway. So, at the funeral, when they had the funeral, he was buried with them. As well, yeah.
Not a fan of that.
Yeah. So he is considered a mass murderer over here. Yeah. So he was considered a mass murderer, but he was buried with his family. But he was also a highly respected individual in the farming community before everything happened as well. So I suppose as well, I guess going back to the paranoia thing, he was quite highly respected. He knew what he was doing. So Hazel, supposedly wanting to take it away from him, might have been like, oh, am I not doing a good job, and then doubting himself and heading towards that break, because I don't reckon any sane person could do that.
No.
Well, I highly doubt it. Yeah. And Linda was at the funeral, and it was said that she didn't cry or say a word at the funeral.
She was most probably too scared to.
Or just processing everything, I guess, as well. Or,
she's
sorry,
only
dissociating.
9.
You wouldn't process, you'd dissociate. Yeah, so that's horrible. So, yeah. I just wanted to note as well, so with the sources that I looked at on the internet, like some of them gave like conflicting information about how Jocelyn and Aaron died. So some say they were shot and others say they were stabbed. I wasn't too sure what happened. Most of them died from being shot, but maybe there was a knife as well. I don't know. He was only found with the gun though, so maybe, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, so again, I actually talk about that Aramoana Massacre, which you did ages ago now. Yeah. So this happened 2 years prior to the Schlaepfer murders. So the gun laws that had been put in place by from your massacre, not your massacre. Well,
I didn't do that.
Work is tough sometimes. But they still hadn't been. Yeah.
That's a bit on the nose.
But they still hadn't been passed at this point.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so the law, for anyone who forgot, I also forgot, so I had to look into it. But the law was that gun owners had to have their licenses reviewed every 10 years. So I'm guessing when the Aramoana Massacre happened and then when the laws finally came into place, maybe everyone who had a gun had to have it reviewed at that time. And then,
or did they push it out 10 years?
Huh?
Or did they push it, like...
Well, no, because I'm guessing the law changes would have taken a lot of time to put into place. So my assumption, which I should have looked into, because this is what my case is kind of about, my assumption is that the gun laws took a while again to be put in place. But once they were in place, people who had guns had to have their license reviewed, like almost straight away. Yeah, I really should have looked into that. I don't have the answer. I also don't know anything about guns. So I will look into that and get back to you guys on our Instagram. So at that point, the gun owners still had lifetime licenses. So yeah, once you had your gun license, you got it. So yeah, it was due to the Aramoana Massacre, and I'm guessing the Schlaepfer murders just cemented it that they should get the licenses reviewed every 10 years.
That we need to pull thumb.
Yeah. And so Constable Stark, so he was the guy on the phone, so he was amazed at how well Linda had handled the situation. Yeah. 100%.
Did she get, like, a medal?
Oh.
That girl deserves a medal.
I don't know if that'd be suitable. Like, I kind of guess it kind of would be, but she's very young, and I wouldn't want her to relive that experience. She didn't really save anybody.
Bravery.
Oh, definitely bravery, 100%. Actually,
Is there a medal for bravery?
I'm sure there would be. Didn't they have that movie out, like the Purple Hearts or whatever it is?
I don't think it'd be that level, though.
Oh, yeah, no. But that's a bravery medal. I know that because it's on Netflix.
I haven't watched it.
So a day after the murders happened, so they happened on the 20th of May, so this was the 21st of May 1992, the police said that Brian had refused past treatment for depression as well.
It's a taboo thing in the farming community, isn't it?
Well, it also was back then as well, like in the 90s. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Depression can affect, I reckon it can affect people in many different ways, and most of the time probably not as severe, but again, like I said, it can affect people in heaps of different ways. So
a lot of people also, they feel, I'm not bad enough to need help. Like, someone else is worse than me and they need help more than I do.
Yeah.
But no, sir or ma'am, you deserve help.
That's the big thing, really, isn't it? Oh, someone's got it worse than I do. I don't want to use up resources. Or, yeah. So there you go. That's a tip as well. If you're looking for help, if you need help, go ask for it. You really do deserve it. We want to keep you around so you can keep listening to our podcast. But really, though,
that's not the only reason we want to keep you around.
So him being treated, or him refusing treatment for depression, that was confirmed by relatives of Jocelyn, who had said that she'd been worried about his depression for a bit, but he didn't get help for it. Yeah. So I wanted to chat about the 3 kids, so Aaron, Kerry and Linda. I didn't really have too much information. I couldn't really find anything. Maybe I should have looked harder. But Aaron was remembered as a friendly and popular boy by his school principal called Mr. McGibbon. So the principal said that he was not surprised Linda had been so courageous either. So Hazel, the mother, was always involved in school activities and she provided lots of vegetables for the events as well. So they seem just like a really involved
community.
family. Yeah. Which makes it even sad. Well, anybody passing is sad, but yeah, just being a really big community presence.
But it shows, the lives that we've lost because someone didn't seek the help that they needed.
Yeah.
So seek help.
And that can refer to your own life as well, for not seeking the help you deserve to. That's another loss of life that was wasted. And we
want to see you at your full potential.
We can't see anything. We're on a podcast.
Send us an email.
Yeah, there you go.
At dynastysinister at...
No, we're not going to promote that.
gmail.com. Why not? I would love to hear people's stories.
Oh, okay. I thought you were plugging it like, send us an email.
No, send us an email about how you're thriving.
That would actually be good, especially if we're having bad days. We can be like,
this person's doing great.
Yeah, so one of the sources I saw as well, so about Kerry, so I just saw that she was a teacher. I don't know how, that was quite an old article, so she might not be a teacher anymore. And Linda, Linda, she lived in Paerata with her partner and child, and the child was 1 at the time of the article, so I'm guessing would now be about 16 years old. So there wasn't really too many recent-ish articles on the topic.
Yeah, they most probably, once everything happened, she was like, I'm going to move on with my life.
Well, yeah, because it's about a child as well. Like, I suppose, with another case that I'm doing, which you guys will listen to, but just with other cases where people are older, or like the victims are older, or it's unsolved or something, they dig into it a lot. But I suppose, like, maybe they just really respected Linda, and again, she was a child when it happened, so they just wanted to give her this space. Which, if that's true, respectable, but you should also probably give the respect to everyone else. Unless it's unsolved, then keep pushing. Pushing that.
But push in the right direction.
Yeah. So, with the Schlaepfer murders, so 7 people died that day, including Brian. So, he killed 6 of his own family before shooting himself.
That's insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
So that's why I didn't make it a very long case.
Appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah.
I've had a day.
Yeah. Anywho, we'll try and end it on a positive note. I don't know how you can finish that on a positive note. But...
It's sunny currently where we are.
It's sunny, yeah, which is good. It was frosty this morning, but now it's turned into a great day. So we're very thankful, and we will take our own advice as well to get the help that we deserve to. Well, we should take that advice. Yeah. And again, like Ayla said, Ayla's right. We would like to hear if you're thriving. Flick us an email. You'll get a response because we don't have that many emails. So there you go, claim to fame, and we get very ultra famous. Hopefully, probably won't happen. We're still having fun. This is still fun.
This is great.
But yeah, so thanks for listening, guys. I'm Andi.
And I'm Ayla.
And that was Sinister Dynasty.
Oh my god, slow down.